Hi, Tony here, welcome back to the channel, or indeed welcome if it's your first time here. Just a short video today to look at this absolutely fantastic machine. This is the latest sold out motorcycles build, done bespoke for a customer, and I'm going to take you around it. As you can tell from the tank, this started life as a bog standard Continental 650. Now the customer had done a little bit of work to it himself, but he needed something special to get it across the line in the style that he wanted. So he spoke to the guys that sold out motorcycles with a plan, and they sat down, and this is what they've come up with. So as you can see, the biggest visual change are those tyres. It's a standard width yoke at the front, but what they've done is relace the wheels. So these are now 17-inch rims, 3.5-inch wide, and they've got a set of 5x17 TT classic tyres on there. Absolutely beautiful looking tyres and fantastic for just bobbing around on. I wouldn't necessarily be a fan of riding them in the wet, but for what is a fine weather bike, absolutely perfect. And we've got the really funky lettering on, which initially I didn't think would work, but it looks pretty good on these. As we go further up, we've got a short mud guard. There's a standard bottom yoke, custom headlight brackets with tiny little Kellerman indicators. At the top end, we've got that sold out motorcycles custom yoke. That means that the clocks can be attached with a small custom bracket, also from sold out motorcycles. Really nice and neat, but you retain the standard clocks. One thing you'll notice missing from here, which is another nice little trick bit, is that yoke allows a relocation of the ignition down to here. We've also got new grips, short levers, all of that connected to a black fat bar with some lovely bar end mirrors and some banking plates for where the originals were. The tank itself is the unmistakable shape of the Continental 650 in chrome with a black and gold stripe over the top. Behind that, the standard seat has been replaced by this Diablos seat from K-Speed, beautifully diamond stitched leather with the logo embroidered into the back. And also from K-Speed is the Diablos exhaust, straight through exhaust, cones at the back there, and a lovely old-fashioned traditional swooping header. Sounds absolutely fantastic. And looks good too. The other thing you would have noticed under that lovely seat is this loop tail that's got an integrated light in the back. This is also from K-Speed, but when it was originally fitted, it was pushed way back here and was too short. It looked really weird, so the guys that sold out put this little extender in to be able to push it out further. That gave room to be able to get the plate in a better position with one of the sold out plate mounts on the bottom, and overall it's just stretched that back end out a little bit and makes it look much nicer. There you can see that rear light below the seat, but also the little Kellerman indicators at the back have been wired, so they are also running lights, brake lights and indicators, and despite their size they are bright little things. In terms of suspension, we're all stock at the front, but at the rear we've got a set of black colour coded YSS shocks. These are adjustable for both preload and damping. So we've got some pretty funky looking tyres and lettering, but also a nice new chain and a really cool sold out aluminium chain guard. Standard foot pegs, standard shifter, standard side panels. Just enough work on this to make it look very cool without going too far. So the guys that sold out have done a really good job at making this bike look lovely, and I think it does indeed. But the Continental GT was always a really lovely bike to ride, and has that changed with this? And there's only one way to find out, and that's to get out and give it a ride. and the difference is not that marked. To be honest, there's been no real performance changes to the bike. Yes, it's got a more free-flowing exhaust, but nothing's been changed on that induction side, so you've got pretty much as it was, maybe a slightly more responsive throttle, and obviously a much better noise. The biggest differences come from that change in handlebar position. Obviously the Continental had a lower clip-on, we're now much more upright, and of course those balloon tyres make the biggest difference to the handling. I mentioned earlier that the rims were modified from the original 18 down to 17 inch, but obviously these tyres have a bigger sidewall, so the overall dimension is that little bit taller. You've got a bigger tyre, so it actually makes the ride a little bit smoother. I didn't find it to be particularly bumpy. I was expecting it to be a little bit bouncy and a little bit balloony, but it wasn't that at all. The biggest change comes when you tip into a corner, and that different profile means that the bike does feel different to it would do on those stock tyres. It just takes a couple of corners to get used to how it feels. It tends to tip in a little bit quicker than the standard tyres, I think because it's not as shallow a profile on the side tyre, but all in all pretty good. It's only when you really start to push it in the corners, which is something you're not really going to do on this bike, that you notice any change really in the handling characteristics. All in all, I think they do well. I'm not sure I would want to ride in torrential rain in them, but I've not had the opportunity to test that. But these are a tyre designed really for looks on this bike, but they are very usable too. That K-Speed seat proved to be very comfortable, although admittedly I didn't ride it for hours and hours, and it was just a thoroughly enjoyable bike to ride. It looks fantastic, it makes a great sound. So there you go, short and sweet, something a little bit different for the channel, but as you know, I do love a custom or retro inspired bike, so when I had the opportunity to come and ride this and show it to you, I jumped at the chance. If this has whetted your appetite and this is something that you're interested in, these parts can be bought from Sold Out Motorcycles if you want to tackle that yourself. However, if you want them to bring your visions to life, then get in touch. I'll leave details in the description down below, and they can build you a bespoke bike from either a light modification of a standard bike right through to a full-on bespoke build. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.